Hi there. In this video I will show you how to register your LegaSuite Web Engine or Rocket API Gateway with the Access and Connectivity Hub. If you have already installed the engines, then you will need to reinstall them to register with the hub. There is additional steps in the Web Engine and API Gateway installs to allow you to register those engines with the hub. First of all, you will need to generate a registration key or token. If you log into the hub as the deployer, you can go to the key icon at the bottom here. You may need to sign back in. And in here you will see there's an option for access tokens. These access tokens can be generated for you to install your relevant engines. Click on the button Create Access Granting Token. Give it a name. If you want to set the token to expire, then specify a date. I'm going to select the option to have a non-expiring token. And this is a software token that you will need. If you press to the right of this, you can copy this onto your clipboard. This token will be used for my engine and gateway installs. I am now going to run through the steps for the LegaSuite Web Engine install. Please make sure you use a version 8.5.5 or above. Press Next and accept the user license agreement. You want to give your instance, your LegaSuite Web instance, a friendly name. This will also be the name of the system service that you want to create. You want to repeat this installation for all instances of web engines that you need for your different environments. So you can see here that I'm creating one for the development environment. Please check the box to use the Access and Connectivity Hub and press Next. You will see you're being asked for the address of the Access and Connectivity Hub. Now this server is a different server to where my hub is installed, so I need to specify the address for the server with the hub installed. Also paste in the access token that you popped on the clipboard earlier and then press Validate. If all is well, a connection will be made to the hub. You may need to open relevant firewalls on port 8080 to allow the connection from the web engine to the hub. You will see that the realm has been displayed, and also on the drop down list you can see the development, production and test. You can also see that the checkboxes for use for licensing and use for deployment are checked. If you are using central licensing, then please check the box if you have loaded your relevant license file into the hub. Press Next. Go for the typical installation and press Next. I'm going to leave the destination folder as it is and press Next. Here I'm going to enter the server port. Now the default server port is 1291. I'm already currently using that, so I'm going to change my port number. I have also checked the box to install as a service. Press Next. This is where the web client will be installed. When running the web client, you use a WAR file, and the path to the web client is actually the install directory of the web engine. I'm actually going to change this and point this to my Tomcat directory where the WAR will be installed. So you can see in the directory structure, I'm going to put that in the web apps directory. You'll also see I've got some additional packages already installed in my web apps. And then what you want to do is you want to give your web client a name. By default it's called web client. I'm actually just going to change the name for this video. And once you're happy with those, press Next. Lastly, specify the path to your Tomcat server as a URL. Of course, if you're using something else other than Tomcat, then specify that. The only thing I need to change on here is actually the port number, because I'm currently running it on 8080. And then press Next to start the install. Oh, one last thing, as you can see, is set your administrator password. This is for the web engine, so if you want to use it via the management console. Now we're ready to install. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is I want to start the web engine. So remember, this is starting as a system service, so I don't need to start any desktop icon or anything. So this all registers and starts as a system service for me. And as you can see from my services list, you can see I've got other system services that are web engine based, but this one particularly, called Ratch Development, is now running. So lastly, let's go and check on the hub and see what's registered on the hub. So on the left hand side, if I click on the instances, you'll see now I have a running web engine on port 1300, and I also have a configurable servlet, which is where the WAR file is, which is running on my Tomcat server on port 8080 on my target server. I will now repeat the process and set up my test and production server, which involves installing an additional 2 web engines. So now you can see I have my dev, test and production web engines running and now configurable, ready for me to deploy to. For those customers that want to install the API gateway, the steps are very similar. Obviously there's no WAR file this time, but you register with the Access and Connectivity Hub, again using the token and specifying the address, and then install the API gateway, which you can install as a service as well. I'm now just going to log off the hub, and I'm going to sign on as the system administrator, which is sysadmin. And I'm just going to register my licenses here. In the previous video I showed you how to do that when we were discussing the licensing options before. When I installed my web engines, I said I wanted central licensing. As you can see, I've filled out my request to request a new license, and then I can submit that electronically, and my license is now registered. Of course, I've already started my web engines, and now I've just done my licenses, so it's probably a good idea just to stop and restart those services for your web engine so that license file is picked up. As you can see, I've got my 3 services here, my development, production and test, so I'm just going to quickly restart those. And there we go, the restart is now completed, and that license file would have been picked up from the Access and Connectivity Hub. So I'm just going to log back on as the deployer in the hub. As you can see, my servers are still running and my web engines are still running, and everything looks good, ready for my first deployment. So that concludes this video. Thank you very much for your time.